Hello, and welcome to episode 21 of Mediocre Military Modeling. And today we're going to be looking at the Panzer III Alf J, or I think that means version J. And this is kind of a watershed model in my modeling career, because this is like the first model that I actually did some like more advanced things. I did some this is like the first model I did some real chipping on, and things like I really kind of stepped up my game a little bit as far as weathering goes, just a little bit. Now, we did look at a model prior where I did some chipping. It was the M48A2, and I actually did that one after this one. This is actually the first model I did that I felt like I really kind of stepped it up a level as far as my weathering goes, a little bit. But anyways, yes, this is the Panzer III. This is specifically the Academy kit, and this is their North African Panzer III. So all of the schemes in the book are for North African camouflage schemes and North African variants. So, yes, the Panzer III, when you talk about World War II German tanks, the attention always goes to the big cats. It goes to the Tigers, the Panthers, the Tiger II. You don't get a whole lot of interest in kind of the earlier German tanks or the smaller tanks. So we've looked at, Panzer I, Panzer II, and now the Panzer III. And the Panzer III was actually a pretty good tank. It had a significant role in the early years of the war and even into the mid-war. It was very effective. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have the allure of something like a Tiger or a Panther, but it's a decent tank. I don't know if you could compare it kind of like a Sherman, just kind of like a jack-of-all-trades sort of vehicle here. There are certain variations. This one it still uses the, I think that's the L42 cannon on there. Yeah, I think it's the L42. And this version I did has a little bit of like extra armor as compared to like a standard model. So right here there's some spaced armor, and then on the front here, that's has some extra armor plating right there. But otherwise, it's pretty much a standard Panzer III. So yeah, I did. So let's see, how do I want to talk about this? Because there's something I don't like about this tank, this model that I did specifically. I'm not thrilled with the camo job, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But other than that, like I said, I think I did step it up a little bit with weathering. You can see I've got some chipping around the fenders and stuff, and it's very light. But again, this was my first time that I did chipping, and I used the sponge method, sponge chipping, and I was very pleased with it. And I especially like on the side here, if I can zoom in a little bit, I think the decals went on pretty well here over some of these features, and I like to do some weathering and chipping around here. And I did go over this thing, I added some like dust effects. Again, not super heavy on all the effects, but I did try to dust it up. Overall, I do like this kit. It did come with some photo etch. If you can see down here, there's like little chains hanging. I mean, it's Academy. It's not your super high-end kind of kits, but I think it's pretty good with the detail, and yeah, I really like it. All right, so let's talk about the camo job I did here, which I'm just not crazy about. It came out, and I don't know how well it translates. The color translates with the lighting to the camera. But it came out a little bit too pastel to me. It just didn't look right. The brown looked a little too red or a little too pink. And yeah, let's take a closer look. You see what I'm talking about here. So try to get a little bit closer here, but there is two colors here. There's like German gray, or gray, and then the brown. And the gray is okay, because I know the gray is supposed to have like a greenish tint, which it kind of does, but the brown just came out way too pink. And like, if you look here, I think this is an example, I think this is supposed to be the same model here, and as you can see, the box art, it looks much different, at least in my opinion. And if we look here, so you get all kind of in the manual here in the back. You know, you get your different schemes, and a lot of them just use one color. There's actually quite a few. This one actually has the longer L60 gun on it. So you can see some of them have, like this one doesn't have the spaced armor or the extra armor, and this one does. This is the model I did right here. And so as you can see here, it doesn't, I mean, it's close, I guess, but it just, I don't know, it just didn't match up right. And I do have the paints here, so I didn't use weird paints or anything. I used these AK lacquer paints, which have pretty good, they treated me very well in the past. And you know, I double checked like kind of like historical records and stuff for the RAL numbers. And this is the gray, RAL 7027. And this is brown, you know, German, the brown, RAL, what is that, 8020. And from what I could find, that is the right RAL numbers. And, you know, I think this was like the tropical scheme, or maybe the later North African camouflage scheme. I'm not sure. But this is, you know, I looked at a couple like online sources, and these were the numbers, the correct numbers. And even looking at them in there, it does look more correct. But when I put it on the tank, for whatever reason, I don't know, the brown just, it feels a little too red to me. I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. And I tried to correct it with some filters. I used like, I used sand, I tried to put sand weathering. I used North African, like German Africa core, desert, whatever, sand filter, covered it with that. It toned the red, like the tint down a bit. It does look better than when I originally did this with the filters I did on it and stuff. And I used to try to do some oil filters. I just never could get it to look right. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Does it look correct to you guys, or does the paint job look off? I don't know. It kind of annoys me a little bit. It just doesn't look right to me as far as the camo scheme. But I don't know. I don't know what went wrong. Other than that, though, the model is great. It looks, pretty accurate. It's Academy. It wasn't that hard to put together, and I think the detail is decent. So I would definitely recommend this kit. I don't think it might be like I don't know what they call out of print. I don't know if you can find it anymore. This was a few years ago I picked it up, so I don't know if they still make it. But it's a good kit. It's a good kit. I just think I messed up the camo. Alright, so here at Mediocre Military Modelings, we give my models, 3 different grades. It's either the lowest one is a artistically inclined 5th grader could do better. The second grade is that good old college try. And then lastly, it can get a certified mediocre rating. Now, I feel like this is kind of a point in this channel and in my modeling hobby. I don't want to say modeling career. It makes me sound like a runway model or something. But my hobby of modeling, I feel like at this point I should be a little harsher on myself, because I do think after this model I do get a little bit more skilled, and I kind of step things up, maybe a little notch, I think, with my techniques. I'm still nowhere up there with some of these people on YouTube, but I think I do, after this model and onward, I think I do a little bit better of a job. So I feel like I need to be a little harsher from this point on myself. But overall, I think it's a cool tank. Again, I think the Panzer III, things like the Panzer II and Panzer III, and even the Panzer IV, are a little underrated, maybe, when it comes to models. World War II German tanks. All the glory goes to the Panthers and the Tigers. It's nice to see something like the Panzer III get some love here. Not that there isn't a ton of kits on this subject, but it's a cool tank. It's a decent tank. And I like the North African kind of, the Africa Corps sort of theme here. So great kit, easy to put together, fairly detailed. But I just don't like the paint job I did. And I don't know what went wrong, because these should be the right paints. So you guys, let me know what you guys think. Do you think the camo scheme is correct? Do you think it's just me, my eyes? Like, this looks good to you guys? This looks correct to you guys? Or is something off? Maybe I got a bad batch of paints here. I don't know. It just looks wrong to my eyes. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. For my score on this thing, I cannot give it a certified mediocre with my that paint job to me. So I'm going to give it that good old college try because it is a great kit. It doesn't look horrible. I just think I could have done a lot better. But a great kit overall. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next episode of Mediocre Military Modeling.